This video will contain spoilers from the world and story of Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. Please beware. It wasn't too long ago now that we learned that Subnautica Below Zero will be going through some major story updates. And well, regardless of whether you think that that is a good choice or bad choice, something that is definitely interesting is that only a few days after the last official update to Subnautica Below Zero story dropped, called Deep Dive. Now with this update, we got a whole bunch of new and updated stuff to look at, so in the interest of being completely caught up with Subnautica Below Zero before the story rework drops, hopefully somewhere early next year, I figured we should quickly jump in and see what all has been brought to us that's new in the Deep Dive update, most specifically considering the flora and the fauna and the biomes, which are hopefully not going to change as much as the story. So after watching this, you should hopefully be fully caught up on what is new and what is currently present in the world of Subnautica Below Zero. We're gonna do this in a more let's play-ish fashion because a lot of these things are mostly new for me as well, so I'll give you my first opinions, and hopefully after finishing this video, both you and me can be ready for the updates to drop, having been caught up on everything. So with that out of the way, prepare your snow fox, get some warm clothing on because it's gonna be cold, and let's go. Alright everyone, so here we are, and to start us off, let's talk about the Fabricator Crystal Caverns. Now, I gotta say, these are incredible. I mean, looking at these, they truly look like a magical place. Just large, sprawling caverns filled with a ton of, well, huge pinkish crystals. Now, what I think is interesting about this is that in real life, when caves like this form, it's usually due to a combination of high temperature and crushing pressure. So here, I'm sure we can have the pressure considering the depth is, you know, close to almost 1,000 meters in the water. But the temperature, now that's a different one. I mean, we are in Sector 0 here after all, so who knows how warm or cold the water here is, but there is a possibility that at some point, this place actually used to be a lot warmer. Now that has something to do with another theory that I think a lot of people have been throwing around, which is the possibility that the arrival of the precursors may have changed the climate of the planet quite a lot. But who knows? I mean, without further information, I don't think we can say. Of course, these caves are home to the Fabricator Caverns, where, well, a lot of story stuff is located, so if you're interested in exploring that, this is exactly where you need to go. Alright, and next up on our list is the crushed and destroyed Snow Fox base. Now this place can be pretty hard to find, especially in this insane fog as it looks, but you have to go to the glacial basin to look for it. I'm actually not certain if that crazy fog is intended or not. I mean, this is the place with the fog disabled and it's still pretty windy. And just past this giant metal door completely covered in ice, we can find the destroyed old Alteran base. Now I think this does a pretty good job of showing us how long Altera had actually been here, considering the fact that unless we take into account that this could have happened recently, which I don't really think it did, to have a base like this with a giant metal door and everything else, I mean, they must have been here for a little bit of time for sure. From a canonical standpoint, I would guess at least a couple of months. There appear to be a whole bunch of technology that, well, we don't really know what it is. I mean, this could be used for anything. Mind you that all the Alteran technology that we've had experience with is the very limited amount from Riley, right? It's not like we've seen that much of it in action, and Riley most definitely did not have access to all of it. But it looks like we can go inside, which we definitely should. I mean, this place definitely looks like something that was meant to be a more permanent base. I mean, you see it has lockers, it has beds, basically everything it needs to be a very solid spot to, you know, go for trips from. I think that's one of the reasons why it would be called a Snow Fox base. Looking around, you can also find a PDA here that details the spy pingling, which seems to be a device that was constructed by Altera to, well, do exactly what it sounds like, spy on the local wildlife with something disguised as a pangling. I think that's quite curious. And I mean, it definitely shows that besides the riches of this planet, Altera is in fact interested in all the scientific knowledge as well, just such as studying the wildlife. And I think that makes sense. I mean, even if they had encountered other alien life before, I wouldn't think it's something that happens on a daily basis. Yeah, we can see lots of communication devices here, so I definitely think this used to be a base of operation of sorts. You know, something that organized trips could be made out of. Supposedly, this would also be the place from which people would take trips to the frozen Leviathan to investigate it. And considering that one has, you know, car samples on it, I would think that could also be one of the main reasons for this place to be constructed. Interestingly enough, there's also a power cell charger here. But, you know, too bad we don't have the Cyclops anymore. And next up on our list is the thing that everybody has been talking about, and those would be the hidden crocodiles. These things are, well, interesting to say the least. I mean, look at them. You know, every time I see something that nowadays that has 4 limbs like this and a somewhat chunkier body, I am just pushed to say that it has to be something related to the Snowstalker. At this point, chances are everything on the planet is kind of related to everything, so I don't think that's too wild of a claim to make. What I think is very likely, considering the nature of this creature, is that it would be more closely related to the frozen Leviathan compared to maybe the land version of the Snowstalker. What's also curious is that the tail is somewhat reminiscent of the Shadow Leviathan, specifically with the spike at the end, but the rest of the body is, well, pretty unique, extremely spiky. I mean, it does have that kind of exoskeleton-y structure, similar to something like the Stalker, but other than that, I mean, to be honest, it looks like a mash of all manner of creatures from around the place. Interestingly enough, they seem to be much more social than a lot of the other animals that we've seen, looking at them right now. They hang out in big groups, which that's not really that common for a lot of the animals we've seen, especially ones that are so clearly carnivorous and just hunting all the time. They also appear to hang out very close to the Chelicerae, which is, I mean, I gotta admit, quite brave of them. They do get regularly attacked, and I mean, of course, it's possible that this isn't their final location where they're going to be, but yeah, definitely a bold choice to make. An interesting fact about these, besides the fact that their name is, well, incredibly hard to pronounce, Cryptosuchus? I don't think that was even close. But considering their size, they don't appear to be particularly brave in combat. In fact, when you attack one of them, they scare very easily, and they will swim quite the distance away from you. I mean, look at that. That's definitely not the kind of behavior you would expect from an aggressive, well, this thing-sized creature. Maybe that armor plating is not as tough as we thought, though I find it highly unlikely. Perhaps they just have bad experiences with humans. And the final thing we're going to be looking at are, of course, the jellyfish, which can now be found in the glacial connection. I mean, these things are truly horrifying. Look at them. Definitely resembling real-life jellyfish, that's for sure. Very luminescent, quite stationary, but they do move a little bit. With a giant eyeball, which... does it actually track me? Oh my god, it does. Well, if that doesn't make it one of the most horrifying creatures in the game, I don't know what does. And of course, the main question here is, are they related to the dropping stinger... Hello? Are these related to the dropping stingers from the first game? Because those look like jellyfish, but they're not. The dropping stingers are not creatures, they're simply flora. They're just plants. And considering these are most definitely creatures, well, I think they're just a unique species, and it does make it interesting that we've never seen any other jellyfish in the game. Maybe something with the water in, you know, on planet 4546b just makes it so that these things can survive in the cold better than in the warm water. Which, to be perfectly fair, we don't actually know how cold the water of, well, this game is. Sure, there's ice here, but technically speaking, I mean, even though I made that one joking video about it, Whose water probably does not have to have the same composition as Earth's water. At least I don't remember if that was ever confirmed. I could be wrong about this. I mean, it's gotta be cold, without a doubt. So clearly, I mean, these things vary in size quite a bit, but it looks like the biggest ones we can find are, you know, about this big. Maybe this one right here. What fascinating creatures. That was beautiful though. Even if we don't know much about them as of yet. Alright guys, and with that you are officially caught up on everything that is new as of right now in Subnautica Below Zero. Will we be getting any new updates before the eventual story rework? I honestly don't know. From what they said, it kind of sounded like that's what they were planning, but then again, adding biomes and adding creatures does not always have to necessarily be related super tightly to the narrative, so who knows, perhaps we will be getting something new for Christmas. But even if we don't, at least right now, you are fully caught up and you can experience whatever new thing comes out without the fear that you've missed something important from this version. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and feel at least a little bit more caught up with what's been going on in Subnautica Below Zero. If you liked the video, maybe consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. All of those would be very much appreciated. And if there's anything that I missed, or stuff that you would not like to see changed from this game with the upcoming story rework, make sure to let me know down in the comments as well. I'm definitely going to read everything you write. With that, I'm going to wish you all a beautiful rest of today, and I'll see you in whatever next video I make. Bye bye.